These days I'm traveling, I'm at a conference, and because of this I have some extra time to play, especially in the evenings and occasionally during breaks between sessions. I brought some games with me. A game that I decided to play during this trip is Damocles Mission. A game from back then, definitely. It came with the Ares magazine in the early 80s, I believe. This can be found for not too much money on on websites that sell old stuff. I don't want to advertise the one that you're thinking of, but that's where I got it. Not too expensive, definitely. Damocles Mission, an old style paragraph game, a solitaire game, so perfect for somebody who is traveling like me. The topic of the game, well, there's this mysterious artifact that has appeared in the sky. It is orbiting the Earth, and nobody knows where it comes from, and if is there any danger that is going to come from it. So now there is an expedition of astronauts and scientists that are going to explore it, and you, of course, lead that expedition. At the beginning of the game, you form your team. You can choose any number between 3 and 6 members, and you can choose from a selection of different types of experts: astronauts, astronomers, engineers, biologists. Each comes with specific abilities, advantages that that party member can bring, and of course also modifiers for the die rolls. So the more people you have, the better it is for you. Point is, however, that the more members you have in your team, the less time you have to complete the mission. There is only a certain amount of days that you can spend in the artifact. After that, you have to return to Earth. Each teammate also can carry one piece of equipment, and at the beginning of the game you also choose which pieces of the equipment you will assign to each teammate, and you will choose among things such as Geigers, infrared, vision equipment, stuff like that. Now, the artifact is divided in rooms represented by these tiles, and it is divided in 3 sections: white, yellow, and green. At the beginning of the game, you shuffle together the tiles for each section. You select only 12 of them. Not all tiles will be used. These ones, for example, will not be used in this game. And then you randomly select one of the 3 sections that you will explore at the beginning, and you will draw a tile from that section, and you will place your team marker by it, and that of course represents the location of your team in the artifact, and also the discovery, the shuttle that you use to get there, and the shuttle that you have to return to if you want to come back home. The back of the tile, as you can see, gives you 3 options. That is, 3 different ways in which you can start exploring that tile. And depending on the type of equipment that you have with you, you may have several options. Suppose that I have vision or infrared, then I can choose the type of scanning that I can do, the type of way in which I want to analyze, explore the row. The number by each option is the success number. You need to roll that number or lower on 2 dice. I placed these 2 small dice here in a glass. It is very convenient because with these small dice, well, it is easy to misplace them. This way I don't misplace them and I can roll dice easily. You choose a die for the tens and a die for the units. In this case I rolled 41 because I used dark blue for the tens. If you roll equal to or less than the number by the type of instrument that you're using, then your scanning is successful. Suppose I was using vision, then I can flip the tile. However, still need to keep an eye on the number that I rolled. That is still relevant. Why so? Because once I flip the tile, I look at the type of of tools, instruments that I use, and I have a success range. If I rolled, the first roll is just to see if something happens, if you trigger something, but the tool that you used may also backfire. So actually, if the number that you rolled is within the success range, equal to or less than the maximum, but equal to or higher than a certain minimum, a certain threshold, then you look at the paragraph in the book that corresponds to the tool that you used, vision, infrared, or pyrometer. However, each system also has a minimum threshold. That is, if you roll low enough to flip the tile, but too low, lower than the minimum threshold, then the system backfires and you will have to read the paragraph for the backfire option. Also, an important concept is that you can re-roll dice as many times as you want. However, if you roll doubles, you spend an extra day. So that is the trade-off option. That is the catch. And actually, every time that you do an investigation roll, you will have that option. That is to re-roll dice, but also there is a chance because of that you will waste extra time and you will spend extra days in the artifact. So once you have your paragraph, you will simply go to the section of the magazine with the paragraphs and you will, where is it? Well, and you will read the instructions. Actually, it's better if I do not show it to you, so I do not give you any spoilers. You simply read the description of what happens in the artifact at that point. Usually the instructions will tell you whether after your exploration the tile is on or off, and then you will place a marker to record first the option that you use for future reference. For example, I use vision, then I place a 1 marker. There are markers for 1, 2, 3 and B. If I place the marker with the red side face up, it means that the tile is on, and that is the instruction on the paragraph that tells me whether it is on or off. 1 or whatever number or letter on the yellow side means that the tile is off. You're trying to turn on as many tiles as possible. You're pretty much trying to see if you can control the artifact. There are some exceptions. Some tiles actually have negative effects, so you want to turn them off. Also, the different types of tiles. This one with the symbol here means an artificial intelligence system. There is another type which is power system, and then you have the command systems. These are very important because after you explore them and you turn them on, you also can roll to activate them. You have to roll within this success range. As usual, you roll lower, backfire, you roll higher, you can re-roll and maybe spend extra time. If you activate a command panel, then you can attempt to use it to turn on or off other tiles in the same section. Each success that you have when you roll will allow you to turn a tile from off to on or from on to off. Usually you want to turn them on, but with some exceptions. After you're done with your business there, you will try to look for access ways to leave the room. You'll have to roll within a certain range, and if you're successful, you will draw a marker, an access way marker from that cup, and you will place it adjacent to one of the edges. You have to roll because it is a random thing. Each room can have up to 3 access ways. And suppose that I want to have several here, so I decide to look for an extra one and I place an extra one there, because you will want sometimes to have several accessways available, and you may have up to 2 accessways on one side of a room and up to 3 accessways total that connect a room. Because the tricky thing is that each round you also have to roll for each accessway adjacent to the tile in which you are, and for each accessway tile, if you roll equal to or higher than the number printed there, then the accessway simply disappears. It is not there, And because of this, entire sections of the artifact may be closed off, may be completely separated from the areas that are connected to the discovery. So at that point, your team will have to find other access ways that reconnect the path to the area from which you can reach the discovery. Otherwise, well, it is very bad because you cannot come back home. You're just stuck on the artifact. Also, each time that you travel through an access way that you haven't explored before, a day of time elapses. You spend a full day there. These are the basics, really. You will explore room after room. You simply repeat the procedure that I explained. You will read the paragraphs to see what happens, look for further access ways. This also means that you will build the artifact as you go. Some access ways may be closed after a while. Members of your party may be incapacitated. They can still act, meaning they can still move and carry equipment, but they cannot use it. They may be dead, they may die. Pieces of equipment may be damaged. You may be able to repair them later. There are just several things that may happen, like in every paragraph game ever made. And the game will be over when your time is over, or when you have turned on enough sections of the artifact that you think you will be able to score high, because the more sections you explore and the more things you turn on, the more points you will have at the end. That there is simply a system that there's simply a table that you read, and you see your level of success based on that. By the way, you have to explore a section until you're done, and then when you exploit all the tiles in that section, you can start drawing from another section. But there are also ways actually of finding shortcuts to explore other sections. Also, you may have from time to time the opportunity to gain information points, very precious, because you can use them to modify die rolls to your advantage. This is the general idea. You explore the artifact until the game is over, and then you see what your level of success is. Final conclusions about this. The game is not very mechanically elegant, especially because you had to roll dice so many times, in which, well, you're not failing, you're not succeeding, you just keep re-rolling. Sure, there is a certain degree of tension that is created by the fact that the more you roll, even in effective rolls, the more chances you have that you will waste time. So the countdown clock is still ticking, but it still takes pretty slowly. So it doesn't that to me didn't build up much excitement, much tension. A very good thing here is theme. This is definitely a game that is more about theme, and I would say more than that about atmosphere than about story. The paragraphs definitely create a general narrative in which the atmosphere is very intense. You have this dark, gloomy place with mysterious noises, mysterious lights that go on and off, humming machines, mysterious globes that float in the air, things like this. The atmosphere is strong. If you like, how can I call it, minimalist sci-fi, such as another recent Moon, or just certainly mysterious, cryptic sci-fi, such as 2001: Space Odyssey, well, I think that this game may be seen as going in that direction, attempting to create an engaging atmosphere as opposed to telling you a linear story. On the other hand, this is also probably the biggest limitation of the story, of the game here. Paragraph after paragraph, you will find a sequence of rooms in which things that seem to be pretty inconclusive and non-consequential happen. And not much happens, really. Let me read some sample paragraphs to give you a sense, a feeling of what may happen to you. A large rectangular slab is seen floating in the chamber ahead. There are no apparent means by which the slab is held in place. Treat this tile as on. And you place a marker that says, oh, the tile is on, good. Another room. There is a blank keyboard on one wall with an empty picture frame above it. However much the team plays with the keyboard, nothing happens. Treat this tile as permanently off. Okay? A last one. I think you're getting a sense, but there are extreme levels of hard radiation in the small room ahead. The radiation is definitely dangerous and should be avoided. Treat this tile as on. In a case like this, I don't really know why the tile is on and why maybe the previous tile was off. You do get to interact with the environment, but everything remains extremely mysterious. So, that's great for the atmosphere, but after a while it feels a little frustrating. It can feel a little repetitive. Again, I like mysterious things like The Next Guy, narratives that are about unknown mysteries. I like that. It wasn't on Once We Saw This is my favorite sci-fi movie. However, I like unknown in fiction when I have the sense that there is a mystery behind, a mystery that I don't understand, maybe never will, but I still feel that somewhere in the mind of the creator a mystery was there to be decrypted. Here I don't have that sense. I really don't think that after playing a while and going through an endless series of empty rooms or rooms where almost nothing happens, I'm just trying to turn on these rooms, so like I'm trying to turn on a Christmas tree. After a while, I started doubting that there really is a mystery that can be unraveled here, that there is a story, that there is something behind my grasp. It started feeling to me like an exercise in atmosphere that is effective on one hand, but a little unfulfilling on the other. This is my general opinion. This is not a bad game. It is mechanically a little bit awkward. It can keep you entertained for a couple of hours. It is hard to beat. One has the feeling that it is heavily luck based. Of course, you choose to push your luck and you choose your equipment and your members, but still luck has a huge role. But to me, the best thing and the worst thing at the same time is that atmosphere tramples story here. And, well, this is my final verdict, really. If you think this doesn't bother you, if you think this type of narrative may entice you, then by all means have a look at this game and find your copy online. But I don't think it is going to be for everyone.